Episode 24, Lord of the Rings characters.
I think his story is the most interesting because he killed his friend for the ring, and then he kept it for like hundreds of years, and then he lived forever. Then he has this dope Kurt Cobain hair with less, and then it's brown.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of 5 to 1. 5 to 1 is all about the countdown from our panel of experts on a different topic each week. Today, we are featuring the best Lord of the Rings characters in our style of counting down from
5 to 1. First thing I'd like to say I was talking about to them, my favorite show now is Stranger Things.
Oh, what do you know? Somebody called it.
And I got so hyped for
as soon as the trailer comes out. And Dad said that a few episodes ago, that as soon as the trailer comes out or it starts airing again, you know, he would like it way better than Walking Dead.
But there is good news and bad news. First of all, Elle's alive. And second of all, it's coming out in October.
Yeah,
That's
but it'll be worth the wait, I think.
Don't say I think, you know. Don't try, no, from Yoda.
What?
Close enough.
That's close.
So we took a couple weeks off from the pop culture train, and we are hopping back on this week with another mega movie franchise that we have yet to discuss. Lord of the Rings. Where are you going, Jet?
Just get my list right now.
It's right there on the printer. Okay.
Good job.
Yeah, so it's been a while since Lord of the Rings has been socially relevant, but the story is timeless. And Jet and I have been rewatching the trilogy.
Yeah, because I haven't watched it in like 3 years and I have no idea what's going on, so I rewatched it.
Yeah, so we've been rewatching it over the past few weeks, and I can definitively say that these films age extremely well because they're still really good, really fun to watch. What?
What?
You're whispering in the mic. What are you saying?
My precious is what he's saying.
So here
Who does the voice for him?
I know that the motion capture actor is Andy Serkis. He's the same guy who plays Snoke in The Force Awakens.
You never told me that.
I don't know if he also does the voice, but I have a feeling he does, and it's probably been processed through something, but it's probably Andy Serkis. Okay. Here to talk about 5 to 1, Tolkien's masterpiece, are the three of us. I am Chris Mordor.
Oh.
And I am joined by my two hairy-footed sons, my 12-year-old Cade Mordor and my 10-year-old Jet Mordor.
Lame, man.
Yeah, I am clever.
3 of the same names.
So I remember watching, I remember sitting on the couch with Sissy, my aunt, and she is, and we're just watching TV, and she's scrolling through channels, and Lord of the Rings comes on, and they were in Helm's Deep, and they were like, someone said Helm's Deep, and then also we heard the Adele song, the Rolling in the Deep thing.
Yeah.
And then she started singing the Rolling in Helm's Deep.
And she can sing really well.
Yeah, so.
Huh. Can you reenact it?
Rolling in Helm's Deep! Pew, pew, pew,
Good.
pew.
Glenn Solomon, fun fact of the week.
Pew, pew, pew,
Good.
pew.
There were lots of fun facts to choose from for Lord of the Rings, but I decided to pick a series of them that all had to do with one of the main characters, and that would be Aragorn.
What about him?
I have fun facts about his character.
Okay.
You see, I didn't know much about him, so I found him kind of boring.
Aragorn's awesome.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
He made my
Yes.
honorable mentions.
Save it for the list. Let's do the fun fact first. Aragorn's role was difficult to cast. It was originally offered to Nicolas Cage. Do you guys know who Nicolas Cage is?
Yes.
No idea.
I don't think he would play a very good Aragorn.
That would have been horrible. That would have ruined. It would have been
Who
disastrous.
is Nicolas Cage?
He is the main actor in Ghost Rider and National Treasure and
Is he a
Gone in
bad
60
actor or
Seconds.
something?
he just would not fit this role well. A lot of people, you might see like clips on the internet. They make masks of Nicolas Cage and they wear it and they like scare people with it. You seen this before?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, it wouldn't have been good.
Definitely not for Aragorn.
Yeah, he turned it down, thank goodness. Next, it went to Stuart Townsend, who is a lesser-known Irish actor, and he rehearsed and trained for 2 months until he was fired 1 day before filming began.
How was he fired?
They should have Roman Reigns. He looks like Aragorn.
Well, it went to Viggo Mortensen, and he nailed it. So Russell Crowe, who is the gladiator from Gladiator.
Oh, he would make it good.
He was the backup for Viggo Mortensen, and Jason Patric was after him. So Russell Crowe was really interested in the role, but he had just finished filming Gladiator when they offered it to him, and he had other commitments that he was.
That's
that were
another
in the way,
movie I need to watch again. Gladiator. I haven't seen that in forever.
I think Russell Crowe would have been awesome as Aragorn.
Is 300 the first one or Gladiator better?
Oh,
Gladiator.
Not even close. Gladiator's way better. Yeah.
Do you like 300 though?
Yeah, it's fine.
I love
but
300.
come on.
300's awesome, but it can't beat Gladiator. Gladiator has too good of a plot and story behind the 300.
So
what about the Achilles movie?
Troy?
Yeah,
It's pretty good.
It's okay, but it's not nearly as good as Gladiator.
What about
Or
300?
I don't know.
Same.
Yeah. Vin Diesel also auditioned for the
Oh,
role.
No way.
Can you imagine him?
Lord.
That might have been worse than Nicolas
He
Cage.
belongs in Fast and Furious and only in Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Except the new XXX.
That's like the same kind of movie, though.
Also,
Yeah.
he belongs in
Riddick.
Yeah, that movie's awesome.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to say very much. That's why he's good when he doesn't have to talk a lot. And when he's playing Groot, because he only has to say 3 words.
Oh, I didn't know you played Groot.
Yeah, he's the voice for Groot.
Who's the voice for Little Groot?
I don't know. Little Vin Diesel.
I like little Groot
Baby
better
Vin
than Big
Diesel.
Groot.
Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn took several beatings during the filming. For example, when he kicks the orc helmet in the 2 towers after he thinks that Merry and Pip were burned in that
Yeah, I
pile,
remember that.
he actually broke 2 of his toes.
What?
Yeah, and they kept it in the film because he turned it like into his performance. Basically, he made a noise or something, but it came out instead of saying "ow," he turned it into like a noise, like out of frustration.
Like, ugh.
He also got a half of a tooth knocked out during a fight sequence, and he insisted they use super glue to put it back in so they could keep working.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Not even bother to go to the dentist. Well, I would because I've already chipped 5 teeth.
yeah. Quit chipping your teeth. Initially, they filmed a scene where Aragorn fights Sauron, like in his physical form, kind of like how
His
Isildur did in the the flashback sequence.
yeah.
And it was cut in production because it ventured too far from the books. But they decided to use some of the footage, and in the final battle, when Aragorn is fighting a giant troll, it's actually the scene where he's fighting Sauron, and they just superimposed the troll where Sauron was.
Oh, well, that's smart.
Let's see. What else I got here?
I heard like a rubber duck.
That's Jet doing that thing that I had to try to edit out for an hour last week.
Oh, I
Stop
thought
making
I
the
heard-
noise.
I thought I heard like a rubber duck. I was like, whoa, wait. We don't own any rubber ducks except for the one upstairs bathroom that Jet really likes. Remember him? He's red.
The red
I
one?
only like it because Grandpa gave it to me like when I was 4.
Of course, you were 4.
Everything happened when he was 4.
Everything in his entire life happened when he was 4.
So also worth noting, Christopher Lee, who plays Saruman and is also Count Dooku, really wanted to be Gandalf, and Liam Neeson, Qui-Gon, turned down the role for Boromir.
I like Liam Neeson.
Oh,
He's awesome.
Honestly, I think that was a good thing.
Well, Sean Bean, who played Boromir, is also really cool, so it worked out well.
Matt Damon or Liam Neeson?
Matt,
They're both really
I don't know
cool.
who-
I don't know, Matt Damon.
I don't know who Liam Neeson.
Oh,
Qui-Gon.
he's in the new
Liam
the
Neeson.
Wall movie, the movie about the Great Wall of China.
Yeah.
I wanna-
Matt
What
Damon.
does Matt
watch
Damon
that.
really look like? I know him, but I don't.
Jason
Really.
Bourne.
Oh crap, that's hard.
Last thing worth noting on our fun fact of the week, the Uruk-hai orcs, like the super orcs that are chanting right before the battle at Helm's Deep. You know, when they're all chanting and the battle's about to start before that guy shoots the arrow.
I can't remember it because
They're all chanting and it's really loud and like intimidating. That was actually a stadium full of New Zealand cricket fans, about 25,000 fans.
Really.
And they recorded it and that became their Uruk-hai chant.
I can remember and talk about anything from 1 and 2, but not really 3.
Well, this is 2 because it's the battle at Helm's Deep.
Oh. The only chanting I really. Oh, I know. Wait, no, I don't. the only chanting I know is Battle of Helm's Deep is when like that other orc is like born.
That didn't happen. That happened before Helm's Deep. I'm talking about at the battle. They're just about to start fighting, and the thousands of orcs are lined up, and they're chanting.
Yeah, they're like raising their spears.
Yes.
I know that.
Okay. All right, so that's it for that. I have a new segment this week. It's a surprise. It's time for Jet's Pun of the Week. So I'm springing this on Jet, and he's kind of excited, it looks like. I thought maybe you've been making up a lot of puns and jokes lately. Maybe you could share one each episode that you've made up.
All right. So let me think of one. The one that I've already made and told to you. Okay.
I was thinking...
Hold on, wait, I have one.
Okay, go for it.
What did the stormtrooper say to the stormtrooper when they went on a carnival?
What?
Man, that was a blast.
Nice. Let's do one more, because I was thinking you could share the very first one that you kind of came up with that ends with, it's about a basketball player.
Dang it. I can't make a joke. Sometimes I feel like a basketball player. Shoot.
Yeah, it was something like that. All right. Thank you for Jet's Pun of the Week.
Are we going to do that from now on?
I thought it was
why not?
I thought it was like... I'm a basketball player and I can't make a joke.
That's not it.
I thought that was it.
No,
it was a little different. It's been a while since he did that one. Okay, and now we have some feedback. Hey, Chet.
Yeah?
I need you to do me a favor.
What?
Run to my bedroom quickly and grab the white envelope that is on my nightstand.
In the meantime, I'll tell you a story from last year. Either last year or in 5th grade, when I was talking to my friend Jacob about Lord of the Rings, because I saw one of the movies, and he is a fan of Lord of the Rings. And so we were talking, and we were saying all the stuff, and we were arguing about it. I can't remember what we were arguing about. I think it was which character was cooler. And so we were saying all the stuff about Lord of the Rings, and this guy walks over and goes, "Man, you guys are such geeks. Like, what the heck are you guys talking about?" We're like, "Lord of the Rings." And he goes, "What? What's that?" And I felt super offended.
Well, some people just aren't enlightened enough to have read the books or seen the movies, and so they don't know.
All right, what's up?
You back? Okay. We didn't get any voicemails, but we did get a review on iTunes that I really wanted to share because it's really awesome. Let's see if you guys can figure out who it's from based on the iTunes handle. Ad Ye Sun Russell.
Baseball player?
Yeah.
A baseball player?
It's okay. Addison Russell is a baseball player. This is Ad Ye Sun Russell.
Who is he then?
Who? Come on, you know this. Which one of my friends looks like Addison Russell?
I forgot his name.
Darren Yee. Ad Ye Sun Russell.
Oh, I know Darren. He made that same face with the hat, like that guy, like Addison Russell did on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know
man.
who you're talking about.
Okay. Well,
Looks exactly like him.
it's crazy, right? So Ad Ye Sun Russell said, the more men are really entertaining and intelligent. Jet cracks me up. Love the personality. Cade's knowledge is outstanding for a youngin'. Chris Moore, he's just studly handsome and super smart. Great stuff, guys. So thank you to Darren, Ad Ye Sun, for that really awesome review. That was really cool.
Love you.
And then, man, did we get like the coolest letter ever in the mail this week? Like a real letter in the real mail from the amazing Daniel Johnston.
Lane's dad.
Yeah, Daniel Johnston. I'm just going to read his letter that he wrote real quick, okay?
Okay.
Dear Cade and Jet, we have never met, but I know you're really excellent dad. I knew him when he was growing up with my son Lane. Your dad was a great kid, and I wish I could see him again and meet you guys. Perhaps soon, though. My wife and I get to Fort Worth quite a bit. My wife Jill adores your dad, too. She and I have been married for 40 years now, and it is a wonderful thing. But she is crazier than a dishwasher full of chickens. I have heard that you guys are world-class wrestlers. Wow, congratulations to you and your parents. Page 2. Turn the page. I was a wrestler too a long time ago, but actually once a wrestler, always a wrestler. Always.
Always, yeah, always. You'll get back soon enough. Cooper bugs me about it. Like, I remember, it was like last night, actually.
Yeah, he said something to me
He
last
said
night
something,
too.
But like every time coach called us into the middle of the teacher's move, he'd jump on top of me and he goes, "Get your brother back!"
Yeah.
And he'd hit me all the time. So.
He's a cute kid. It saved me from extinction on more than one occasion. Also, recently, I heard one of your podcasts. That is so cool. I have never, ever heard of such a thing. God bless you guys. I'm getting a little choked up just thinking about it. I'm going to have one of my kids help me figure out how it works so I can hear more, or should I say more. You are all just amazing. I'll enclose a couple of stories from my upcoming book. I love you guys. Give your dad a big hug for me, Daniel Johnston. So seriously, awesome letter. He also gave us a couple stories that are going to be in his book, and I thought, not tonight, but maybe next episode we could read one of them.
He sent us like $100 worth of money across the world.
We don't know how much it is in American dollars, but yeah, tons of...
Maybe
I mean,
I know
we
some
got
of it.
3 notes from Zimbabwe that are $1 billion each in Zimbabwe dollars. So I don't know.
If Lane's dad is listening, I like to tell him I'm also making a book.
Oh, yeah. Jet's working on a story right now, too. He started it
Ooh.
tonight. Would you like to talk about it?
Okay, sure. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah, go for it, man.
It's called Test Subject Number 10. It's about Brenner, if you know him from Stranger Things, that bad guy, which Elle calls him Papa. It's about test subject number 10, about the girl before all of Elle, Mike, Dustin, and Lucas.
Sounds really interesting. I
So
can't
it's
wait to
about-
read it.
You know what? I'll Photoshop you some pictures. If you actually make it into a book,
Also,
I'll Photoshop some pictures to print out, and then,
This could be a collaboration.
yeah.
it's about Brenner and this other guy. His name is Jake. There's a reason why he's not in the show. I haven't wrote
Is
it
it
in
Jake from State Farm?
No. And 10, they just call her 10. It can't be like 11, not call him L, like Tenny or...
Teh.
That's horrible.
What
Well,
about
I can't wait
nine?
to read it. It sounds really interesting. I'm glad you are working on something creative.
But I'm only like halfway through, because right now they've been doing the wrong thing for the whole time.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Wait, it should have been 8. And he could be like Canadian or is it Irish. He could be
yeah.
No, I think it's cool if they're little. I think it's cool if they're little girls, though.
Yeah. So when you guys got the letter in the mail, were you surprised?
Yes.
Very.
Did you get a little bit choked up, Cade?
Yes.
Mom said you did. It was a really nice letter. Very heartfelt. So, Daniel, thank you so much. Your letter means everything. It's very cool of you to do that. And hopefully, over these next few episodes, we can read some of your stories. I think that'd be cool to share. Yeah?
Aha.
Okay. So, did you guys have any rules for your list? Or did you just write down 5 characters?
I mean, how is there rules? It's just characters.
Well, when I was going through them, I decided not to dig really too deep into the book characters, which are a little different than the movie characters. Like, for example, there's this one book character whose name is Tom Bombadil, he's like not in the books a lot, but he is enough to, and he's really
Bombadil.
interesting, but he's not in the movie. So
Wait, is he an old man?
yes,
Of course, you love all your
he's
old
the
men and
oldest.
everything.
He's the oldest man in all of Middle Earth. He's older than Gandalf, even, who's like 15,000 years old.
Bilbo.
Bombadil.
Bombadil.
Anyway, so yeah, I just kept it to movie characters. I just didn't want to do a whole lot of more research than I already had to do.
All right,
Okay.
you guys ready?
Okay.
Yeah, Kay, what do you got for?
Number 5.
It's going to be every time, okay?
Okay, what do you got?
My number 5 is Sauron.
He's my number 3.
He's not on my list.
All right, why is your number 5?
He's just cool. Like, the main bad guy's always cool and everything. Like, a lot of people are like, oh man, I hate the main bad guy. He's so annoying. He's like, but like in every movie, book, or everything, I'm in love with the bad guy.
Yeah, I think what makes him compelling is that we hardly know anything about him. Like, what is Sauron? What species is he?
What if he is Earth?
He kind of looks like a giant man, a little like human-like, but really big with really cool
Well,
armor.
in his true form, he looks like exactly like a human, but just with a bunch of armor covering it. And when he's the Eye of Sauron, he looks like
An eye.
Oh yeah. I
Well,
mean, I was
okay,
trying
but-
to use a different word.
But when he's in his physical form, what is he?
nothing.
He's something
No,
because
he's not. He's like a robot.
He is the Force.
okay. A robot is something.
Well, he's not a being.
He is like a form of the Force.
I think he's like a spirit, kind of. That I read a little bit about
that's
it.
Powerful enough to where he can harm things. Like
yeah, but he's like evil and mysterious, and you hardly see him in the movie, but you always feel his presence, whether it's his eye or his minions that he sends out after.
You see the eye a lot, actually, but you don't see his.
I want to see
form.
like a full picture of like the two towers, and their eyes, and then like the mountains, like in the shape of a curve, so he has a smiley face.
Yeah.
What if that was a thing?
It's not.
What if it was though?
But he also commands like the Nazgul and the ring wraiths and the orcs, and he has a lot of like his evil is just everywhere. It's kind of a little bit like Darth Sidious in the original trilogy. Before you see him a whole lot, you find out that Darth Vader has a boss, and you hardly see him, and you're like, Darth Vader has a boss. This guy must be really powerful, and you just feel his presence even though you don't always see him.
Do you think Luke would beat
Sauron?
No, not Sauron. Darth Sidious.
I don't know. Maybe.
If he was fighting Vader at that time, at number 6, I think he would lose.
Maybe. I don't know. All right, Jet, what do you got for your number 5?
I got Bilbo.
Bilbo, who turned 111 in the first movie.
I like Bilbo a lot because at first, he's a pretty big character in Lord of the Rings, but he isn't like Legolas or Aragorn, somebody that big. But what I like about him, I liked him okay in Lord of the Rings, but since The Hobbit came out, I learned a lot more information and stuff about him and his adventures and what he's gone through.
Yeah.
And the ring, he's like the third biggest. He's the second person that like loves the ring the most. First is obviously Gollum. Second,
I think first is Sauron.
No way. Get out of here already. First is Gollum. Second is Bilbo. Third is Frodo. Wait, no. The third is that other guy that fought Sauron. Then it's Frodo. Then it's
Luke Skywalker.
Okay. 5-1 people who love the ring. Is that what we're doing now? Yeah, I didn't put Bilbo on my list, but he's cool. I like him. You see him most in the first one, I guess, and then not very much after that.
So would for us, a guy that's like 7'5" is huge, super tall. Like, would 7'5" to a normal person, but to a hobbit wouldn't it be like 5'5"?
Yeah, hobbits are short.
That'd be funny.
All right, my number 5 was Galadriel. Galadriel
Nice.
is the elf.
That died?
No, that's a girl who, when Frodo tries to give her the ring because he doesn't want her anymore,
she's hardly in there.
Yeah, but when he
She's
tries
hot.
to give her the ring, she gets all real scary in that
gets
scary
crazy.
voice. Yeah, I think it's my weakest choice of the ones on my list because she's not in the movie all that much. But I did find her scenes to be really memorable. She's really powerful.
Really hot.
She's pretty. She's Kate Blanchett,
who you're
who's an
talking about,
awesome
Kane?
actress.
You know who we're talking about?
She was
Yeah.
able to resist the temptation of the ring when Frodo offered it to her, but man, it was kind of scary, like that whole
she's
scene.
powerful.
She's very powerful. She can read minds and she can speak to you using her mind. She's been around forever. She was one. Do you remember that scene in the very first movie in the beginning when they're talking about the history of the ring, and they say Sauron made 5 rings for the elves and 3 for the whatever it was, and 9 for men. I can't remember the numbers, but
Ring rates.
when he made the rings, not the rays, he made the rings for all the species. And
I'm saying the men became their
yeah,
race.
that's not what I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about the rings that he gave. He gave 9 to men. He gave 5 to elves. I can't remember the numbers, but he gave some amount to the elves and some amount to the dwarves. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. She was one of the ones they showed getting one of those rings.
Really? So
Yeah.
what happened?
So she's been around a really long time, is what I'm trying to say.
I know, but
I want to know the story behind each ring. Wait, do all the rings have the same power, or is it just...
yeah, she's definitely
No, there's
old.
one ring to bind them.
I definitely
The
agree.
one ring.
I definitely agree with you because what was it, like 5,000 years
It's
ago
the
when it
ring.
happened?
That was how long, the ring stayed down there lost, right?
Yeah.
on top of the what's it called?
She can also see into the future to some extent, and she's surrounded by a lot of mystery, and I like those things. So she's my
Surrounded
number
by the
5.
Force.
Is she an elf or
Yes.
so she'll live forever? Well, she lives forever by age, but she
She
could
can
die.
die from,
She
like, a
could
sword.
die every way except for age.
Yeah. All right. Okay, what do you got for your
Number 4.
I got Gimli.
Gimli made my honorable mention.
Really cute.
He first was on my list, but I thought there was better kids.
He's like Chewbacca. You can't not love him.
Yeah, he's funny. He provides comic relief.
So all these intense, sad, emotional times, like heavy action stuff, you have Gimli to calm it down. Gimli.
Yeah, I like the parts when he's counting the amount of orcs he gets trying to beat Legolas.
This is like 45,
yeah.
46,
I like in
47.
the war when they're like all looking, he's like, Legolas, what's going on? Because he's like too short
can't
to
see
look
over the wall.
because he's a dwarf.
Or like when Aragorn has to toss him onto the bridge, and he's like, "Don't tell the elf."
Yeah, and also when he like jumped and he held his beard, when they jump, it said never touch a dwarf.
Yeah.
In the second one, I think first. I can't remember.
Yeah, he's good. I didn't include him on my list, but I like the choice. Good job. All right, Jet, what do you got for your number 4?
I have Gandalf, the white, not the gray.
Gandalf is also my number 4, but I prefer Gandalf the gray. I know he's your number 1. You love Gandalf.
Gandalf's my number 1.
Why don't talk about Gandalf, Kate? Save it for number 1.
Okay.
I like Gandalf the white better than Gandalf the gray.
Why?
Gray lives matter.
Because the white looks a lot cooler, and he's like, I feel like he's in it a lot more.
I thought about leaving him off my list because I knew or assumed he would be on both of yours, but how can you not have Gandalf?
That's crazy.
He's got the most memorable line as Gandalf the Grey.
You shall not pass!
He's probably the wisest and most powerful character out of anybody. He's been around forever. He says at one point, 300 lives of men I've walked the earth, and now I have no time. So he's like at least 15,000 years old. He's also kind-hearted and charming, especially in the beginning with the hobbits, and he's awesome. Gandalf the White is cool too, but not as cool.
Honestly, if I'm gonna be completely honest,
gray wizards matter.
Gandalf kind of reminds me of Yoda. They're like old and wise.
What about Dumbledore?
He reminds me more of Dumbledore than Yoda.
To me, I think Gandalf is more like.
What about old Ben? Kenobi.
I thought you were like Uncle Ben. Like
he's not
Spider-Man.
like anybody.
Or Uncle Ben's rice.
They even call Ben a wizard in the movie in Star Wars.
No, they didn't.
Yeah,
they
that
do.
crazy old wizard. Yeah, they do. And he's like old and wise and has a gray beard.
Stop it.
Okay.
I wonder if Gandalf can make.
Well, what do you think about
noise.
this, huh? What Dumbledore and Gandalf are wizards too.
Okay. And your point is?
I just made my point.
That's why I'm saying old Ben is kind of like them because they even call him a wizard.
No, he's not. He really isn't.
Okay.
Yeah, remember? He goes, "You're a wizard, Obi-Wan Kenobi." Remember that?
I can't be a wizard. I'm just Harry. Well, just Harry. I'm Albus Dumbledore. I mean, Gandalf
Hagrid.
the Grey.
Oh,
I mean,
now join the dark
Obi-Wan
side.
Kenobi.
Now join the dark side.
We're mixing up our franchises way too much here.
No, I'm not. Freaking idiot.
So,
that'd be the best movie ever.
All right, next one.
Star Wars,
so
Harry
that was
Potter,
your number 4, right?
Lord of the Rings, and Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
Like,
You can't go wrong.
What was Kate's number 4? Gimli, right?
Gimli. My number 4 is also Gandalf. So let's move on. Kate, what's your
Number 3.
Legolas.
Same.
honorable mention?
Because he's just so cool. You know, he's an elf.
Is that what you say for
He's
every character? He's so cool.
He does say that a lot.
Well, he is cooler than most of the other really cool characters that I said that are cool.
He is cool. I didn't put him on my list because I think he's a little bit overrated.
What?
He's that cool. He stabbed an orc with an arrow, pulled it out, and shot the arrow and killed another
He
orc.
is cool. But if I'm going to pick one of the heroes of the main 3 of him and Aragorn and Gimli, it's not Legolas. I like Aragorn a lot better.
Do you like Gimli or what's it called? Legolas better?
Probably Legolas, but Gimli's a lot funnier.
Yeah.
Legolas is so cool. I like all the elves are like my favorite species in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
They're interesting. They have a cool story behind them.
Mine is orcs.
I also thought about Elrond.
They seem like royal.
Who's that like the guy at Rivendell when they first get there, who's like in charge of the elves? He's
Oh,
Arwen's dad.
Did he die?
He left with the rest of the elves to sail to
I think he's one of the most interesting characters because he's in that, but also
in the battle at the beginning.
He had to do something with that other guy that fought Sauron.
Isildur at the
and he's the one that tried to no, don't do this, and then that guy didn't listen.
Didn't listen. Yeah.
Well, anyway, Legolas is just completely awesome. He'd be like. Now, when I used to think of characters, I think, oh, they're cool. How many people do they kill? What cool powers do they have? I don't even care about the story behind them as long as they're cool. I used to like them, But now I'm, thinking of the story. But I still chose him because I still have the little feeling in me oh, well, he's just too cool to pass on.
I hear you. That's fine. Okay.
And he uses a bow a lot, which is really cool.
That's your number 3, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Jet, what's your number 3?
Legolas, I just said it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, honorable mention for me. My number 3 was Sauron, so we've already talked about him.
Nice. Moving on to...
Cade, your...
Number 2.
What is it?
Gollum.
Same.
Oh, you guys are going to spoil my number
too.
1.
Don't talk about number 1 until we get there.
Okay, well, why'd you guys pick Gollum as your number 2?
Precious.
He's got to be the most interesting, one of the most interesting characters. He's close to the top.
I think
just everything about him, the way he moves, the way he talks.
Gollum is definitely the most interesting character in my opinion. I mean, who's the more interesting than him?
He's like that guy from the movie Split, where rapidly he'll change.
He's got 2 personalities, yeah.
Well, except in Split, he's got 23 personalities. He's ultra schizophrenic, but he's so cool. He's just awesome.
Jet, you got anything to add about Gollum?
And I like how he was a hobbit before, and now he's...
When he was Smeagol?
I think his story is the most interesting because he killed his friend for the ring, and then he kept it for hundreds of years, and then he lived forever. Then he has this dope Kurt Cobain hair with less, and then it's brown. And
there's 4 strands of hair.
They're long, though. They're dope Kurt Cobain hair, apparently.
They're brownish,
Yeah.
It looks like it's Kurt Cobain, but he has those hair, and he dyed it, and he just took a shower.
You guys should YouTube Gollum monkey, and there's this monkey, I don't know where they are, probably in Africa where all the monkeys are, or India or something, and there's a guy filming him, and he looks just like Gollum. He's like a little baby, though, and he's
Seriously?
cute. Yeah. And he follows him around, and he's saying, my precious, my precious.
I like Gollum a lot, because sometimes, he has that evil thought, and sometimes he's funny, when he's fighting with Sam.
True. All true. All right, I'll save mine for number 1. My number 2 is probably your number 1, Jet, is Aragorn.
Aragorn's my number 1. I'm talking about Aragorn when I get to number 1.
This one, he's another obvious one like Gandalf, but I could not leave him off my list. He's my favorite of the heroes by far. He's a leader, but he's reluctant about it. He's quietly badass, both as Aragorn and Strider. The ladies love him, but he's faithful to Arwen. And he's humble and noble and just perfect for a hero. So
I don't like a lot of the leaders sometimes. Leaders like Lois. For an example, what's it called? Avengers. No, Captain America. No, what? Captain America as a leader. See, he has leadership a lot, but
he's a different leader than Aragorn.
I know, but they're both leaders, so it makes sense.
Aragorn was a reluctant. He was only leader because he was the best at everything, so he got put in that position.
Yeah. Besides, he was gonna be king, but he turned it down because he didn't think it was good enough.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a reluctant leader.
He's a good man for that, man. I mean, who does that? Only
I don't think I know enough about him.
Rewatch the movies. He's really awesome.
She's like the.
Oh, I know he looks like Roman Reigns.
He's like the third most important character in it.
Jet, do you have anything to add about Aragorn?
Well, no, because I'm going to save it for number 1.
We're going on to number 1. I just finished my number 2.
All right.
Since we're already talking about him.
Okay, he's awesome. He has long hair like mine.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And he has Kurt Cobain hair still.
Dope.
And
like Roman Reigns.
He is not.
He
not
does.
nearly as long as Roman Reigns.
But
it's like it.
Also, I like his arsenal of fighting with his sword.
Yeah.
It's cool how he does it. And one of my favorite battles is when Boromir gets shot 3 times and he's dead. And then he fights that and he gets stabbed. And then my favorite part ever in Lord of the Rings is when he cuts off his head. He's
that part is really cool. I almost considered that guy, the Uruk-hai orc, as one of my top 5. He made honorable mentions.
Yeah, he's
for me.
he's the coolest orc I know,
Yeah,
no doubt.
for sure. All right, Cade, what do you got for your
Number 1.
Can I guess?
Gandalf.
Oh yeah,
It's
Gandalf.
Gandalf.
That's
yeah,
right.
I was laughing sarcastically, like, really?
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Because we said it earlier. But yeah, Gandalf, he's so cool. He killed a dragon.
No,
In
No.
a
not
Oh.
a dragon.
Are you talking about in The Hobbit or no? Because in
No,
the,
when he brings...
it's a Balrog. It's not a dragon.
Balrog.
It's
Yeah.
like a fire demon type thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he brings it down into the mountain, into the water at the bottom, and he kills it.
That's
my
when he
favorite
turns
thing
into
about-
Gandalf the White.
My favorite thing about Balrog is his whip. I love
Yeah.
it because, like, he's falling, like, oh, thank gosh, Gandalf, and then he grabs his leg.
You shall not pass!
And then he falls, and it says, run, you fools.
Fly, fools. Yeah. Yeah, good choice. I guess I'm a little bit surprised that neither of you had Frodo or Sam on your top 5.
I get bored when I watch Frodo and Sam. Usually, it's so much more fun watching the other characters instead.
I would have put one of them on here, but I was like sure you guys would, so I didn't.
I didn't put them on there because, I mean, you're awesome characters, don't get me wrong, but honestly, I think the other characters are more interesting.
Okay, fair enough.
And I like Sam better than Frodo.
Do you think he's... A lot of people think he's more the hero than Frodo is.
Kind of is,
He is. He
honestly.
saves Frodo, and then Frodo does it at the end, you know. But
Sam doesn't have to carry the ring.
Oh, yeah, that's
Frodo
true.
chose Gollum over Sam, and Sam still came back.
Yeah, he did. Sam is awesome. He's also Rudy, the football player, and he's also Mikey from the Goonies. So bonus
Really?
points. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Same, Sean Astin. All right, my number 1, we already talked about him, is Gollum. You guys already know he's my number 1 because I've told you about it. Gollum's my favorite by far. He's just so complex. He's got a very emotionally gripping backstory that Jet talked about. Out of every character in the story, you really witness the effects of the ring on him the most, I think.
I think
Yeah,
so
look what it
too.
turned them into.
He's effectively got 2 different personalities between Gollum and Smeagol, and he's constantly battling to retain his identity throughout the movies. And he's also funny, like Jet said. It's unique that he's able to provide comic relief while also playing a bad guy and a good guy all at the same time.
I like when he goes, no, he's good, he's bad, he's good, he's bad. He does that like a
I
million
like when he
times.
ruins
Yeah.
the potato.
The rabbit,
Yeah.
That wasn't
Or the
him.
Tomato,
I
or
mean,
the fish. What was
he
it?
catches a rabbit that he calls a coney or something like that,
Hey.
and Sam cooks it because Gollum starts eating it raw in front of Frodo, and he's like, "You're going to make him sick." So he cooks it, and then Gollum is like freaking out
He's
because
like-
he's ruining
he's
it
like- he's
because he's
screaming.
cooking it.
but that sucks because that reminds
And he goes,
me.
"Cook it with some taters," and he's like, "What is taters?" And Sam's like, "Potatoes." Is that the part you're talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah,
That part's funny.
yeah.
I love potatoes.
I love potatoes too. He's also the saddest character. Like near the end of number 2, when he feels like Frodo betrayed him, after he just gotten done like casting away the evil Gollum, like kicked him out of his personality. He's like, go away and don't ever come back, right? And then he's Smeagol, and he's just happy to help Frodo, and he's doing the right thing. Then he feels betrayed, and he's like, it's super sad. I mean, you could see this guy's been by himself for 500 years, and has been twisted and tortured by this ring, and now he's finally casting away all of that and helping somebody out, and they're going to destroy the ring, and then he feels betrayed, and he's like just heartbroken.
Yeah,
and he's
but-
on the ground and he's crying. You can see his hand on his back.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. Honestly, I don't think he would betray Frodo if it wasn't for that idiot Faramir.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Faramir's fault, but yeah, I agree.
It's his fault, Dad.
Faramir.
I think a lot of
was a
people
nice hair.
like I finally got Mom to watch these movies, and she ended up liking them, which surprised me. And we watched all 3. When I told her that Gollum was my favorite character, she's like, "What, Gollum?" I think a lot of people feel that way because they can't get past the way he looks. That he's the fact that in the end he's mostly a bad guy, right? Because he betrays Frodo and tries to get him killed by the spider, and
Yeah.
and then ends up attacking him on the way in. So I get all that. But if you can see past that and you see how emotional his character is and how complex he is, I love his journey. It's the most intriguing to me out of all the characters in the story. All right. Anything else on Gollum?
No, I have nothing left.
All right, Cade.
Honorable mention.
Cade, do you have any honorable mentions?
No, you guys named.
All right, Jet, you got
I
any?
got Frodo, Sam, and Saruman. And I'm just making these up in my mind as I go.
Okay.
And that orc with the
Saruman
crop,
sounds like a Pokemon.
and Daryl
Yeah.
and Daryl Dixon orc, and the one that shot Boromir with his
Oh
crossbow.
yeah, the Uruk-hai.
And that's really it.
So I had two. I didn't have any hobbits on my top 5, which we already talked about. I like Frodo, Sam, Bilbo, Merry, and Pip, but I wanted to point out 2 others for my honorable mentions, and both are pretty obscure characters. One is the little girl hobbit that sits in the front of the group of the kids when Bilbo's telling that story in the
I
beginning.
think it's so cute.
She's so adorable, and when he tells a scary part, and she reacts like she's scared. Yeah, super adorable. Also, the old man hobbit that you see in his front yard when Gandalf is first getting to the Shire at the very beginning of the movie, and he looks really grumpy. He's like sweeping, and then Gandalf shoots off those fireworks, and the kids all get excited, and he smiles. But then his wife comes up and looks at him, and he gets all grumpy again.
Yeah.
I love that guy. For elves, I had Elrond, Legolas, and Arwen. For bad guys, the Uruk-hai leader we just talked about. Shelob is the spider. The Nazgul, like the ring wraiths, especially the lead one, the
those
Witch
are
King
cool.
of Angmar. They're awesome. I had the Balrog that you talked about, Cade. Humans, I had Éomer was the next closest to making my list, but nobody really came close after Aragorn. Éomer is the one who he's the horse rider from Rohan, the one that gets kicked out of his kingdom by his dad when his dad is.
I don't really care about him.
See, I like him a lot. But I also had Boromir Éowyn, who's the girl, who's the one that loves Aragorn, and Theoden, who's the king that is like being controlled by Saruman, and then Gandalf
He's interesting.
cures him. Yeah.
I mean, he's not like those persons Faramir or Boromir I don't like, but he makes, I just like him, he's interesting. I like when, him and Aragorn talk. I think they have interesting talks about, what they should do.
They're both leaders. And then creatures, I had Shadowfax and Treebeard.
Oh, yeah. I like Treebeard.
Shadowfax is the cousin of Artax from The Neverending Story.
The Never-Ending Story.
Keep singing.
Fax machine.
Oh.
Good job. All right, Cade, what do you got for
The worst.
Faramir.
Faramir? I heard you talking about
He
this.
doesn't like Gollum.
Yeah, nobody
Mine
really does.
is Boromir.
Oh, you guys picked brothers for the worst characters.
Yeah.
Boromir.
You know what's funny? I picked their father, Denethor.
So Boromir.
Man, this family just sucks.
I actually like Boromir and Faramir, though.
So Boromir, I like his death was pretty cool. He was fading away like Artax in the swamps of sadness.
Yeah.
He was very, very, very annoying to me.
He had a noble death, though.
Made bad choices.
He made choices that were bad for Frodo, but that were good in his mind for his father, who was the steward of Gondor and his
But the
people.
audience doesn't want to see that.
I agree. But he also had a noble death. He fought till the end. Faramir, I know why you picked him, because he's the one who holds them for a little while, and then he is the reason indirectly that Gollum feels betrayed by Frodo. But in number 3, which you haven't rewatched yet, he's like a hero in that movie. He lets them go at the end of number 2. And number 3, he's extremely loyal to his father Denethor, who I picked, who is insane. And even till the end, he does he's loyal to his father, even though his father hates him. His father despises him and wishes that he had died instead of Boromir, his older son. And in the end, he ends up, I think he ends up with Éowyn, who is the girl that was in love with Aragorn. He has a good story in the end. Denethor, who is their father.
With all these stores.
Yeah.
And oars.
He went crazy when he
Thor.
used the, those stones that they have that they can kind of see the future with? They're called Palantirs.
Mm-hmm. No.
They look like big bowling balls, kind of. And one of the twins, not the twins, one of the 2 hobbits, I think it was the one that always gets
Merry
in trouble.
Pippin?
Pip, the one that's always in trouble.
I think that's Pip.
Yeah. He
I don't really like them,
tries to look into
honestly.
it even though they told them not to, and Gandalf gets
remember
really
that.
mad. Yeah, okay. So there's another stone like that, and Denethor had it, and he looked into it, and he went kind of crazy. And when he went crazy, he started making terrible choices. He went further crazy when Boromir died. He treated Faramir like crap, even when he remained loyal to him. He denied Aragorn's birthright as the king of Gondor. He refused to help when the flames were lit to come help the battle. He refused to go. He just sat there and he ate nasty food with all these juices dripping down his chin. Do you guys remember this part from the third
he's
one?
Annoying.
No.
Oh,
not
it's
really.
He has a
gross.
big throne too.
Yeah, and then he was on a big throne. And then he committed suicide after trying to kill his son Faramir on that fire. And then Pip and Gandalf had to go save Faramir.
I don't really like Pip and Merry.
I do.
They're kind of annoying.
Merry's really cool. Pip is a troublemaker, but...
Why do you think Merry's really cool?
He's the one that's always like setting Pip straight. I might be getting them confused. Whichever one is the one that's like level-headed.
That's Pip, I think.
No, Pip is the troublemaker, I thought.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, the other one, the one that's level-headed, Merry, he's always setting him straight.
I honestly don't know which one.
Okay. Well, Denethor was a jerk, and he frustrated me a lot in the movies. Maybe he was a good ruler before he went crazy. I don't know.
By the way, just saying, in our conclusion, I just thought of a 5-1 episode.
Okay, well, we haven't gotten there yet, because I have another new segment.
Pew, pew, pew.
Listener Choices. So, for this episode...
Bow.
Did you recognize that from the last episode when I
Yes.
asked you to make laser sounds?
Bow, 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 bow.
Mine's so much better.
Well, you're both in
Bow,
there.
pew, bow, pew, bow.
So we posed a question on Facebook: Dumbledore or Gandalf? What do you guys say?
I say
Gandalf.
1 and 2 of Harry Potter. I like Dumbledore more than Gandalf, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Gandalf.
We had one listener, Kristen Vesperman, who said this exact same thing. She said Richard Harris, who was the actor who played the original Dumbledore. And then after that, she wasn't as sure.
If we did our Harry Potter episode, Dumbledore wouldn't have made my list, but until they changed the actor, since of his death.
Well, who do you guys think won on the Facebook poll? Dumbledore or Gandalf? That's all I said
I think Gandalf.
all I said was
won.
Gandalf or Dumbledore. I didn't say anything
I
else.
think
I think
Gandalf
Dumbledore
won.
might have won, but I went for
I'm
Gandalf.
gonna read you the first 5 answers, okay? Dumbledore, Richard Harris, which is Dumbledore. I'd rather go drinking with Dumbledore, but rather have Gandalf in a fight. Dumbledore, Dumbledore. Those were the first 5 answers.
I knew it. Dumbledore was going to win.
However, Gandalf made a huge comeback, and there were a lot of people that had kind of like Justin Philhauer had answers that were like, Dumbledore is more respected in his universe, but if Gandalf was in his universe, Dumbledore wouldn't be the most powerful wizard. Gandalf would.
Definitely.
Things like that.
Definitely.
A lot of people said, I can't pick. And in the end, I had 7 votes for Dumbledore. I had 11 votes for Gandalf.
What did I tell you, kid?
And several half and half votes, depending on the context of the question.
Nice.
But yeah, after the first 5 people said Dumbledore, and it was all within like 1 minute of me posting it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a landslide. But then all these people started picking Gandalf. I would probably pick Gandalf too, but it's really close.
It makes sense, Dad, because they would pick Gandalf because Gandalf is older, so they would wait longer.
I like your logic there. All
By the
right.
way, I said long.
You did. You said G, with a G. Well, thank you to everybody for taking the time to listen. Please check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/521podcast or tweet us at 521podcast. Give us your opinions there. Let us know why you agree or think we're idiots. We want your opinion. It's also a great idea to a great place to leave us ideas for future episodes. Also, like Adgison Russell, please leave us a review on iTunes. We love that.
Guys,
Love you too.
And call us at 469-607-521. That's 469-607-5861. Please join us next time on 5 to 1 for our discussion on...
okay, I was going to pick something, but it's kind of the exact same thing we've already done, so...
Well, what was your
Those
idea?
top 5 people you wish that were alive to stay, but we've already done top 5 people to meet, and that includes death. So we should
Yeah.
probably change it.
Okay.
Let's do top 5 hats to wear.
Hats to wear?
Or top 5 collectibles.
Do you know any
What?
besides one?
I know 4, 5. I know bottle caps, rocks, Funko Pops.
How about this?
Cards?
How about we decide after we finish recording, and it'll be a surprise for our listeners what our next
Okay.
topic is. All right,
Okay.
Kate, you got anything else to say?
Love y'all.
It's okay, I know you're there. It's okay, I know you're there.